was very interesting when you started to talk about those buildings downtown, is that many of them experienced a major catastrophe a year ago. And I'm wondering if you could all talk for a bit about the fact that the quality of any infrastructure, such as fiber, really has to do with its reliability, and to talk a little bit about what you think about making our infrastructure, or this investment in this infrastructure, more resilient. And also just to give us a sense of, a sense of how you're thinking about resiliency in this infrastructure. And also to maybe take advantage of the fact that we're about to be making major investments in resilient infrastructures around New York as a way of upgrading what's there currently.
Well, I applaud the efforts to try to bolster the shoreline of New York from a Hurricane Sandy-like event, but the reality of it is that no two disasters are alike. And if New York was hit by an earthquake, which is also a possibility, all the protections we have against on our shores were going to make a difference. So we need to take a holistic approach. And I think the cell phone towers in New York had approximately 8 hours of diesel generator power, and there is in many of the post-Sandy plans that were unveiled by some of the political leaders in this city and state, the communications technology was sort of the last thing on the docket. It should again be considered the first thing on the docket, because without communications you can't actually do any of the other kinds of relief and recovery efforts that you need to do this. And the fact that Verizon is trying to rip out all their copper wires downtown, which went bad, and replace them with fiber, and that many sections of Lower Manhattan still don't have access, is unconscionable. And the fact that they're actually trying to get the federal government to get them to basically free them of having to provide universal service of copper to citizens all around the United States is another example of failure of understanding this from a public policy perspective. So it's a really big issue, communications, emergencies, and having people in public policy perspectives that really understand this as a major, the only way we're going to create a 21st century, protect the 21st century economy is to build for it and not continue to think about it from a 20th century perspective.
I'll add to that too. I think that there's something certainly that needs to be done at the city level. I think probably something that is more resilient is to do things at a much smaller scale. And for example, I know in downtown, the Downtown Alliance, which has tenant representation, landlords, and business cooperation, they can think about these things together, not only with people in public policy, but with a group of people who are concerned. Another example might be in Red Hook. They've taken this into their own hands and are working on a mesh Wi-Fi network, so that if the provider can't make it to their house, maybe their neighbor or their neighbor's neighbor can make it to their house. I think taking it into your own hands will get that message, to more people in government.
And there are some things to build on that. When Wired NYC and the parameters were designed by the NYC EDC, they did a good job of building in questions about redundancy and resiliency. And it's a new idea to some in the real estate community. So they ask questions about, are there multiple points of entry into a building? Are there multiple risers running up the sides of the building? Of course, is telecom equipment kept above grade in case there's flooding in the basement, which clearly the Lower Manhattan experienced. So I think the EDC did a great job building that in as a qualification of a platinum building. It needs to be not only have choice and high quality service providers in the building, but also redundancy and resiliency.